morning, everyone. Welcome to BYJU'S exam prep. My name is Alpa Sharma and this is our daily editorial analysis. Am I clearly visible and audible to everybody? Good morning, Ragini, Abhinav. Abhinav, good to see you after a long time. I hope you are absolutely fine now. Good morning, everybody on YouTube as well. Am I clearly visible and audible? Yes, I'm audible and visible in the app. I hope I'm audible and visible on YouTube as well. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Yes, clearly visible and audible. Okay, guys, so I have a surprise for you today. The surprise is that today is 18th of January and I usually take an article from the Hindu and another article from the Indian Express. But what I'm doing today is I'm taking one article from the Hindu and the second article that I've taken today is from the Guardian. That's what I've done today. Because I thought there was not a very important article that was published yesterday in the Indian Express. Thus, the article from the Guardian is here. We will make a lot of questions from the article from the Guardian. We'll try to analyze a lot of things, read between the lines. A lot of inference would be done. A lot of anticipation would also be done because we haven't done anticipation in quite a while. So we're going to practice anticipation today. For everybody who does not know what anticipation is, I'll tell you that gradually while we move ahead with the class. So, okay. So here we go. Let's quickly move ahead. So there is another announcement that I would make. Rabia ma'am, as you guys already know that she's our English expert here. She has started taking everyday newspaper analysis about the important articles you should be reading from the newspaper every day pertaining to GK. Like I do it with the editorial, she's doing it with GK. So my class happens every day at 10 a.m. and her class happens every day at 11 a.m. But her class does not happen on YouTube. It happens on our BYJU'S exam prep app. Okay, and that also is a bilingual class like this one is. So make sure you attend that class as well and don't miss out on that because it's equally important. Apart from that, if you're targeting MHCT, ALET, SLET, BLET and Jamia LLB entrance examinations, apart from CLAT, then since you know there's a little change in the structure of these examinations compared to CLAT, we have a specific batch that we've launched for people who are targeting these examinations, and that's batch 2. So batch 1 is already full. I already take classes there. And batch 2 has been launched and you should start taking classes as soon as possible because otherwise you're going to be really late. We have barely 3.5 months left for these examinations. If you are targeting CLAT 22, we have our first crash course that we've recently launched. The sooner you start, the better it is for you because you're officially already late. Or late mat karo, jaldi se enroll kar lo. Is क्रैश कोर्स के लिए बिकॉज फिर क्लासेस निकल जाएंगी और बाद में आप रिग्रेट करेंगे. यू शुडंट बी वन ऑफ देम. इसलिए जल्दी से इस बैच के लिए एनरोल कर लो. ऑलराइट, ओके. Apart from that, if you're targeting CLAT 22 but not all the subjects, specifically legal affairs and current events, then we have a batch 2 that we've recently launched where Abhimanyu sir and Nivedita ma'am are going to teach you legal affairs and current events specifically. So अगर आपको सिर्फ ये दोनों चीजें पढ़नी है तो आप इस बैच के लिए जल्दी से एनरोल कर सकते हो. और अगर CLAT 2023 टारगेट कर रहे हो तो 2023 के लिए भी एक बैच 7 लॉन्च किया है. देखो वर्चुअली अल्पा शर्मा यहाँ ड्रॉ कर लेते हैं अगेन बिकॉज मेरा पिक्चर मेरे वीडियो टीम डज नॉट लाइक माई पिक्चर, दे डोंट पोस्ट इट हियर. तो मैं भी पढ़ाऊंगी इस बैच में. इसकी कल मैंने फर्स्ट क्लास ले ली है, रादर 2 क्लासेस ले ली और क्लासेस रेगुलरली होने वाली है. लेट मत करो. यू हैव barely 11 months left for this examination क्योंकि आपको पता है CLAT 2023 2022 में ही होने वाला है. तो जल्दी से एनरोल कर लो, वेस्ट मत करो टाइम. आपके पास टाइम नहीं बचा है. Everyone who's new in my class today, let me tell you what we do every day in the class. We'll start off with a quote of the day that you are going to give me. Then we'll revise 3 questions from yesterday's vocabulary. So whatever we did in vocabulary yesterday, we'll have a revision today of 3 words through 1 word substitution questions. We'll take up 2 articles, do a detailed discussion on them. We'll take out their vocabulary, phrasal verbs, idioms from these 2 articles and we'll memorize them. In the end, you're going to tell me the tone of the author for each article. Plus, you can write down the summary of each article under my video in the comment section. I check each comment every day. Apart from writing the summary of each article under my video. If there's anything that you would want to tell me, good or bad, or if there's anything that you would want to talk to me about, you can comment under my video. I will make sure that I reply to that. In the end, we're going to look at today's newspaper, because you know I always take the articles from yesterday's newspaper. So we are going to look at today's newspaper and see what are the important editorials that we should be reading from the Hindu and the Indian Express today. That is what we're going to do in our classes. Now, apart from that, ma'am, you will teach which subject? Manish, I will be teaching English there in that batch. Okay. So, who has got the quote of the day for me? Vaibhav, you're right. That's why it's the best place to study. Okay. Ma'am, when will you take the tone of the author class? Asta, though I've already taken 3 classes on tone of the author, which are already saved on our YouTube channel, but I'm going to take a new one, and that should be in February. Okay, not in January, that should be in February. All right, so what's the quote of the day here? Chandrahas, the Hindu or the Indian Express, either of it. All right, so you can do anything if you set your mind to do it. Yes, in fact, nothing, absolutely nothing is impossible. You just need to be determined with your thoughts. You need to be clear with your thoughts. If you are determined, there is nothing in the world that can stop you from achieving it. Yes. So that is our quote of the day. All right. So let's move ahead. Let's see what are the words for revision. Now let's look at the vocabulary from yesterday's class. Let's revise that. The attitude of a person or an organization towards something or a standpoint. Is it cryogenic? Is it morph? Is it stance? Or is it dedicate? What is our answer here? Super easy words. What are the answers? Oh yes, Asta, absolutely right with your quote. Okay, so what's our answer, everyone? Yes, it is for sure C. Yes, then Raj, it is stance. Yes, Abhinav. And yes, everyone else on YouTube, it is C. It is your stance. Correct. Okay, so cryogenic, the study of the development or reaction in very cold temperatures, is cryogenic. Morph is the change of pictures, that is morph. And dedicate, you know what dedicate is. At least you would know. A particular way of speaking or using words, especially a way common to those with a particular job or interest. Is it exhort, stifle, parlance, or pedagogic? What is it? A lot of new words. What is it? Morph is to change. Yes, Arshita, it is. एलिट में क्या change हुआ? अभी एड्रेस करती हूँ इस क्वेश्चन के बाद. Ma'am, I have a habit of reading loudly newspaper. I understand better if I read it. You have to give up on that habit, Muskan. You have to give up on that habit, because if you read loudly, you'll never be able to skim. The answer is parlance. Yes. Yes, it is parlance. You remember parliament, partake, parlance, related words. Okay, the answer is parlance. Correct. Pedagogy is a methodology of teaching, and exhort is to urge. Let's move to the next word, and after we answer this, I will give my 2 cents on the change in the pattern of elit. Feel a strong desire for or to do something. Is it allit, subservient, vying, or hanker? What is it? What is our answer? Priya, Abhimanyu sir has already taken one, but I'll give you my thoughts about that. Not hat trick. No, Ishan. See, gotcha. You got this wrong, my child. It isn't a hat trick. It isn't wine. It's hanker. It's hanker. I deliberately made the options that way that you're confused. It isn't wine. That's hanker. It is D. Okay? So, nahi hui aaj hat trick. It is hanker. Vying is to aim for something and making a plan to achieve it. Subservient is a minion. Allegation. Okay? To blame somebody for a wrongdoing is alleged without any proof usually. Okay? Alright guys, now a couple of things before I continue with my class. First thing, for everyone who's new, I am going to take one article from the Hindu today, but the second article is not from the Indian Express. It's from the Guardian. So it's very likely that you haven't read this article. We're going to discuss this in complete detail. It's a very interesting piece of writing. That is one announcement. The second announcement is yesterday I took my first class on strong and weak arguments on our BBA YT channel. So everyone who does not know what this BBA YT channel is, BYJU'S Exam Prep BBA. Type karo YouTube mein, you'll find our channel, subscribe to that channel. Yesterday I took my first class, today I'm going to take my second class on strong and weak arguments. These questions very frequently appear in ALET examination. So make sure you don't miss out on this session, and please watch the first video that was published yesterday. Please watch that video thoroughly, learn from that, and then come to my class on BBA YouTube channel. That's going to happen at 12:30. Tomorrow is the third session on strong and weak arguments. Not strengthening and weakening, but strong. Yes, this should happen. No, this should not happen. Which of the argument is strong? That kind of question. That's the second announcement. The third announcement. So I went through the whole notification ALET had published 2 days back. And my 2 cents on that is that since English now consists of 50 marks, I am the happiest here. And then I am even more happy because I have an important section, critical reasoning as well, to deal with, which is going to be a part of the 70 mark section, reasoning. Now, what I believe about English is that if you look at the history of ALET, it used to give you only one passage. And then there were multiple parajumbles and grammar and vocabulary questions. What I think now is it will be dominated with reading comprehensions. If I have a section for 50 marks, as an examiner, if I think of making a paper, I have to give at least 2 passages there. So it's a win-win for us, since we are already preparing for CLAT, which is full of reading comprehensions. We have another examination which is not very, very different. So yes, I strongly believe they'll have a lot of vocabulary, they'll have a lot of idioms and phrases, parajumbles and grammar, but they'll have at least 2 RCs. That is something I strongly believe in. But we shall wait and see till the time a sample paper is released by them. If I talk about this 70 mark section of reasoning, again, I strongly believe it will be predominated with 2 things: critical reasoning and legal reasoning. Again, both of them, reasoning plus reading based. So now it's time for you to work even harder on paragraph based questions of legal reasoning and critical reasoning. That is what I right now believe in, but we'll wait for their sample paper to be out. The moment the sample paper is out, we're going to have a session on them, and all our mocks are going through an overhaul, and everything in our mocks pertaining to ALET are going to change. That's our promise to you. Okay? So yes, there is a class today at BBA platform, strong and weak arguments. Now, let's continue with, yes, Abhinav. So now let's continue with vocabulary from today's articles. Here we go. The first one, lure. Luring is like lalach dena. So if you give the child a toffee and say, can you please bring me a glass of water? I'm going to give you a toffee. What are you doing? You're luring the child. You are exhorting or probably urging by giving some reward. So that reward is specifically attached to a task that you expect them to do. That is luring. The child was lured into a car but managed to, oh my God, such a scary thing. He was lured into the car but he managed to escape. Maybe usko koi lalach deke car mein le liya tha, but he escaped. Okay, that was the first word. The second word, utilitarian. Okay. So utility is the basic word here. Okay. Now utility is basically, there are multiple meanings to attach to it. Understand it clearly, because we have a philosophical concept also associated with a utilitarian view. So the first meaning is when I think of the practical use rather than, being the theoretical use of something. When I make something very, very practical, depending upon its utility. When I build a building, that is more based on utility. That is, people can use it rather than, just making it beautiful without any use. So that is utilitarian. The next meaning as a philosophical concept of utilitarian is that we always try to focus on things that bring utmost happiness to human beings in the world. That focusing on utmost happiness, bringing that utmost happiness to everybody in this world is the utilitarian view of a society or a government or a philosophical concept. I hope that makes sense, everyone. Okay? All right. So incentivize, seduce, tempt, all of these can be related words to lure. It can be. Okay. All right. So that is it. Capacity, satisfying power. Lazy. Yes, lazy Mahi, you can say that. Okay. So let's move to the next word here. Quickly, everyone. The next word is hitherto. Hitherto means abhi tak. Till this point of time. Okay. Until now. That is what hitherto means. Hitherto part of French West Africa, Benin achieved. I mean, till this part of French West Africa, Benin achieved independence in 1960. So until now, until this point, till this part, abhi tak is hitherto. Okay, this is a common word used for that. The last one is your quest. Quest could be a long journey, maybe a difficult one, where you are out in search of something. So my quest for happiness, maybe because I'm not happy. That's my quest. My quest for truth. My quest for freedom of our country. Okay, the quest for our freedom fighters getting freedom to our country. A long, a difficult, an effort-taking journey to find out something in the end, to achieve something in the end is your quest. Slide number 1. I hope every word is clear to everyone. Take a screenshot quickly. Aaj tak, yes, lazy Mahi, that is hitherto. Okay, till this time. Pragmatic, Anushka, absolutely yes. You can use pragmatic for utilitarian. Correct. Quest can be hunt and search also. Yes, Ayushi, it can be. Correct. Pursue can also be pursuit. Yes, it can be quest. Correct. Your desire also can be your quest. Totalitarian is different from utilitarian. Understand that. Totalitarian is complete overall development, overall existence, whereas utilitarian is the utility. So obviously there's a difference in the root words, thus the difference in the meaning. Utilitarian is specifically your achievement of happiness. But totalitarian includes everything, every single thing apart from happiness as well. Okay? Yes. All right. आया अभिनय समझ में? Exactly, Nandini. That's the exact definition of utilitarian. A doctrine that an action is right so far till the time it promotes happiness. तब तक वो justified है. ये utilitarian view होता है. Okay? Exactly, Movies. Totalitarian is omnibus. Okay? Quest, Harshita, I'll explain that in Hindi. Quest होता है आपका desire कोई चीज achieve करने का और उसके लिए जो journey होती है आपकी, उस journey के लिए आप quest use करते हैं. Okay? All right, so let's move to the next slide, everyone. Slide number 2. Cohabiting. One is co, the other is hab. Two root words. I'll teach you the meanings of these root words. Hab means to have. Okay, like habitation or inhabitants. So maybe to have a house. Okay, and then we have habit. So to have a habit of doing something is habit. So have means to have, and then we have co means together. So maybe coexist together, live together in harmony, in a symphony or in symbiosis is cohabiting. So animals that can cohabit with humans thrive, like elephants maybe or monkeys maybe, they live together with humans and they're not disturbed. Who cannot live with humans together cannot thrive actually because we take up their places and their homes and their life and their lives as well by poaching. So that's cohabiting. The next one, anthropomorphism. And just a minute. Go hand in hand is cohabitation. Yes, absolutely. Correct. Okay, so yes, Shrishti, very good sentence, bache, very good sentence. We have found the COVID vaccine after a long quest. Hopefully, it's the ultimate vaccine that we have. Cohabitation is also harmony. It certainly is. Okay. Thrive का meaning. Thrive मतलब survive करना, sustain करना एक difficult situation में. Okay. Dogs also. Oh yes, certainly. Anthropomorphism. ये word हम बहुत बार कर चुके हैं हमारी क्लास में. Anthro or anthropo rather. Anthropo is for humans. And morph हमने कल ही किया था. ठीक है. So basically, now understand this clearly. इसका usage कैसे होता है? कोई भी human characteristic जब आप यूज करते हो किसी नॉन लिविंग थिंग या नॉन ह्यूमन थिंग के साथ, ठीक है, उसको हम एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म बोलते हैं. अब एग्जांपल देखो कैसे. मिकी माउस, डोनाल्ड डक, ये जो कैरेक्टर्स है ना, ये कैरेक्टर्स एक पिक्यूलियर एग्जांपल है एंथ्रोमॉर्फिज्म का. दे वॉक, दे टॉक, दे ईट, दे स्लीप, दे डू थिंग्स दैट यूजुअली ह्यूमंस डू. ओके, या फिर हम किसी गॉड को, जैसे हिंदू माइथोलॉजी इज फुल ऑफ एंथ्रोमॉर्फिज्म, और मे बी एनिमल को या ऑब्जेक्ट को हम लिंक करते हैं एक ऐसे कैरेक्टरिस्टिक से या एक ऐसे बिहेवियर से जो यूजुअली ह्यूमंस एंथ्रोपो से लिंक होता है. दैट बिहेवियर इज एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म. Children's stories have a long tradition of anthropomorphism. Yes, so many. I give you examples of Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, and there are so many other stories where you see anthropomorphism. Okay, all right. So cartoons, all of them. Yes, I knew this is going to come. Personification is a related word. Yes, that's the figure of speech you can use for that. Whereas if you look at the scientific term, that's anthropomorphism. It is absolutely related. I knew it's going to come. Okay. ठीक है, let's move to the next word in Greek mythology also. Yes, it does. Okay. Now, exponential. हम exponential usually word growth के साथ use करते हैं. ठीक है. So exponential is very fast और एक massive increase. जब आप देखते हो quick increase, that's exponential. The social security budget was rising at an exponential rate. That rate is a very fast rate. So ये increment बहुत fast, बहुत quick, बहुत rapid हो रहा है. That increment that is rapid or quick is exponential. Got this, everyone? Yes. Oh yes, Shruti, you got that right, my child. That's what we're going to do. Okay. Now, human-like is anthropomorphism. Ritik, बिल्कुल correct है. Okay. Omicron is growing exponentially. Yes. Let's move to the last word, grappling. ये वर्ड भी अगर आप मेरे हिंदू क्लासेस में रेगुलर हो ना, आपने ये वर्ड जरूर देखा होगा मेरे साथ, मैंने बहुत बार डिस्कस किया है. So grappling is basically without weapons, when you engage in a fight, like using your fists and something. So that is the literal meaning of grappling. But any kind of struggle could also be grappling. So our country is grappling with the Omicron cases. That can also be a contextual usage of grappling. It does not necessarily mean there's a physical fight without weapons. Literally, that's what the definition means. But it can be any kind of struggle as well. So, passers-by grappled with the man after the knife attack. So, this man went crazy. He wanted to attack people with a knife. But other people who were passing by grappled with the man. Slide number 2. Everybody take a screenshot very quickly. Okay. Grappling is fight, certainly, or clash, yes, or struggle, yes. Squabble, brawl, clash, yes, Tanu. All of them are synonyms to it. Okay. Skirmishes, निशा related word है क्योंकि छोटे छोटे fight को हम skirmishes बोलते हैं. Okay. Parties are grappling because election is on its way. Correct. All right, let's move to the next slide, everyone, very quickly. Yes, Saki, very good example. Next slide. Okay, visceral. So visceral is that anything that relates to what you feel rather than what your mind says is visceral. Okay, so the voters' visceral fear of change. It's not logical. It's what their heart says is visceral. Okay, not your intellect, but your feelings, your intuition. That is visceral. Agreed, everyone? Understood? And then we have the last word as verdant. Verdant is anything that's green. So verdant grass, verdant forest, a verdant garden, very green. So verdant exactly links to the word green. Now, it could be relating to grass or trees or forests. That is what verdant is. Any questions in the last slide, everyone? Yes, Prachi, that's the article, the first article I'm going to take. Anthropomorphism, फिर से समझाऊं, ठीक है, last time, everyone, what is anthropomorphism? Anthropo, human, morph is change. तो जब हम एक human characteristic को use करते हैं, एक non living thing या फिर एक human behavior को use करते हैं, एक नॉन लिविंग थिंग से एसोसिएट करने के लिए, या फिर एक गॉड या फिर एक एनिमल से एसोसिएट करने के लिए, तो वो ह्यूमन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक या बिहेवियर कहलाता है एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म. एग्जाम्पल मैंने आपको दिया था डोनाल्ड डक. ठीक है, ही बिहेव्स कंप्लीटली लाइक अ ह्यूमन बीइंग, और मे बी एनी अदर कार्टून कैरेक्टर फॉर दैट मैटर ऑफ फैक्ट, वो ह्यूमंस की तरह बिहेव करते हैं. या फिर हमारे बहुत सारे हिंदू मिथोलॉजी में गॉड्स है जो ह्यूमंस की तरह बिहेव करते हैं. ठीक है, कभी कभी सुपर पावर भी दिखाते हैं, बट मोस्टली ह्यूमंस की तरह बिहेव करते हैं, लाइक दे आर इनकार्नेटेड एज ह्यूमंस. तो उस कैरेक्टरिस्टिक को, एक ह्यूमन कैरेक्टरिस्टिक को एक एनिमल या गॉड या एक नॉन लिविंग थिंग को एसोसिएट करना इज एंथ्रोपोमॉर्फिज्म. विसरल इज जो आपका दिल बोलता है, आपका दिमाग कुछ और बोल रहा है, लॉजिकली आप कुछ और सोचते हैं, आपका इंटेलेक्ट कुछ और बताता है, कैलकुलेशन करने पे कुछ और निकल के आता है, लेकिन आपका हार्ट कुछ और बोलता है. आपका हार्ट बोलता है आज 2 घंटे और सो लेते हैं. ठीक है, लेकिन माइंड बोलता है हिंदू क्लास मिस हो जाएगी, 2 घंटे और नहीं सो सकते हैं. सो आपका हार्ट बोल रहा है 2 घंटे और सोते हैं बिकॉज रजाई अच्छी लग रही है, दैट्स विसरल. बट माइंड सेज नो, आई एम गोइंग टू मिस आउट ऑन द हिंदू क्लास, दैट is intellect. Okay, so I'm going to move to the article now. Ample of explanation for the words. Let us move to the first article. A lifeline, animal farmed. So a latest news came in where a pig's heart was transplanted into a human. Okay, how effective would that be? The human is alive. How long will he survive? We don't know. And this is not for the first time that we see any such transplant happening from an animal to a human. We've had a long history on that. So this article talks about that. A very promising article because it can be easily framed into a reading comprehension. Okay? So that is what the article is talking about. Okay. So let's move ahead. ठीक है, अच्छा, बहुत सारे लोग न्यू है मेरे पास, जिन लोगों को नहीं पता आप लोगों को बता दूं कि लास्ट ईयर 2021 के क्लैट और एसक्लैट पेपर्स में मेरी हिंदू क्लासेस में से आर्टिकल्स आए थे, क्वेश्चंस भी रिपीटेड आए थे. तो आपके लिए रेगुलर होना एक्चुअली बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये बात याद रखना. A few days ago, in the midst of daily gloom of COVID-19, बहुत ही sad state चल रहा है COVID-19. Everybody is depressed inside their homes. They can't go out, meet friends. But there came an uplifting news. It was a very heartwarming news of a path-breaking surgical procedure in New York hospital. A pig's heart was successfully transplanted into a 57-year-old man dying of heart failure. So it was a hope for him. The xenotransplant. What is the root word xeno? What does it mean? Like xenophobia. Yes, Mahita, xeno is a root word. What does xeno word mean? What does it mean? Gene? No. Yes, Purva. Xeno means foreign. So a foreign organ transplanted into your body. That's xenotransplant. Okay? Alright. So xenotransplant, as interspecies transplants are called, was a reminder of the endless possibilities to treat otherwise untreatable diseases. Heart failure, we had no solution for that. If a person has a heart failure, he would probably never survive. But xenotransplants have made that possible. Transplantation to replace failing organs is one of the spectacular achievements of medicine in the last century. Transplanting organs from another body into your body. It could be from a human's body, it could be from an animal's body. The number of transplants has increased, the list of organ transplanted has grown, and outcomes have got better. Yes, but now read this line carefully and tell me what would the next paragraph talk about. Anticipate. But the field is also a victim of its own success, as the number of those needing transplants now have far outnumbered the availability of human organs. ह्यूमन का किडनी ट्रांसप्लांट होता है ह्यूमन में, आपको पता है ये प्रोसेस है. ऑफ कोर्स इसमें बहुत सारी लीगैलिटीज होती है, आप अपने ब्लड रिलेशन से बाहर नहीं ले सकते हो अनलेस एंड अनटिल यू हैव अ डोनर, ताकि इसकी जो ट्रेड है वो खत्म हो जाए. लेकिन अब इस इंक्रीमेंट के साथ साथ नीड भी बढ़ती जा रही है, और क्योंकि नीड बढ़ती जा रही है लेकिन अवेलेबिलिटी हमारे पास अभी भी स्कैर्स है. व्हाट कुड द नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ टॉक अबाउट एवरीवन? What would the next paragraph talk about? Okay, very good guess, Purva. Anyone else? No, Ritik, only once. Would give examples to support this sentence? Yes, other side of the coin. So yes, there could be two things. It would continue with the description of the problem, or it would explain a paragraph how xenotransplant can solve this problem. ठीक है, दोनों में से एक चीज हो सकती है. Let's see if our anticipation is right. Both living and dead humans are being sourced as donors, but because of scientific, ethical, and social challenges, the number of human donors remain restricted. Continuation of the problem that the number of human donors, because of legal, ethical, social challenges, the number of human donors still remains very very less. And you guys know, आप में से कितने लोग हैं जिन्होंने अपने आसपास लोगों को देखा है donating their organs while after they're dead, as in they had already signed a paper that you could donate my organs, or the family willingly donating their eyes or kidneys, maybe. Very very few, very very few. Okay, so that's the social challenge as well. The desperation for organs also create a fertile ground to your vulnerables to sell their organs, as we witnessed. कितनी सारी movies देखी है ना हमने, देखिए. So क्योंकि वो vulnerable हैं और वो poor हैं and they need money, we see people, and then there are so many memes on people selling their kidneys to buy an iPhone as well. The memes aside, the vulnerability of people makes them sell their organs, like we saw in a recent scandal in Assam, the kidney scandal. Given organ shortage, it is intuitive that scientists would turn to animals. Obviously, because अगर humans में shortage है, तो देखो humans supreme है, मानता है एटलीस्ट अपने आप को, और ह्यूमन अपने बेनिफिट के लिए वो किसी चीज को भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज कर सकता है. तो इस आर्टिकल में हम देख रहे हैं उन्होंने एनिमल्स को कॉम्प्रोमाइज किया. नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल में हम देखेंगे कि उन्होंने किसी और चीज को भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज किया. सो हियर एनिमल्स आर एट द स्टेक, बिकॉज अगर हमें जिंदा रहना है तो इट्स सर्वाइवल ऑफ द फिटेस्ट. वी आर द फिटेस्ट. वी आर गोइंग टू slaughter animals and use their organs into our bodies. It also overcomes another hurdle in human to human transplant. One does not have to seek consent. Simple. उनका consent की need ही नहीं है. Humans में तो consent की need होती है, but उनका consent की need ही नहीं है. अगर pig का heart चाहिए तो you don't need his consent. You can just pull it out and fit it into another body. Of course, not all agree with such a narrow utilitarian approach. लेकिन approach तो utility पे based है कि मेरी utility तो पूरी होनी चाहिए, मेरी happiness तो utmost है. So utilitarian approach आया समझ में कैसे use हुआ यहाँ? Everyone? Yes? Agreed? Wopsy, that is what the passage talks about. Now let's see if the author actually supports this transplant or the author is against it. The use of animal organs to replace diseased human ones, is a very old idea. This whole paragraph explains how initially, decades back, there were blood transfusions that happened from animals to humans, though they weren't very successful, and there were transplants of livers and kidneys and hearts and multiple other organs that have happened. So although they haven't been proven very very successful, but they've been happening for a lot of years. Will this transplant boost xenotransplantation? Will this mean the end of organ shortage because animal organs are available for us now? Will this mean that? Let's see. Even the most optimistic scientists will agree that these are still open questions, but the developed world is inching into this direction. We are developing and we are going at a better place where more organs are available for us so that a human life is extended. When this happens, there will be a question of whether the organ will function in the long term or not. How long will you survive? Because if you look at this example, a recipient of kidney from a chimpanzee was a school teacher who survived for 90 days. But what happens with those 90 days? How long will you survive? It also depends on the xenotransplantation and its success. Okay, and whether it will transmit hither to unknown diseases to humans. ये भी तो एक possibility है कि आप animals से unknown diseases transfer कर सकते हो humans में. Swine flu क्या था? यही तो एक example था, है ना? The dying individual offered a xenotransplant as the only life-saving option may not care for such questions. If a person is dying और उसके पास एक ही option available है, xenotransplant, Will he care about the fact कि मुझे और disease लग सकता है या फिर क्या मैं 10 साल और जीऊंगा या 2 साल? He does not care. He wants to live. So if this is the only option he has, he would opt for it. Now comes PETA into the scene. Obviously, because they say this kind of xenotransplant, animals aren't tool sheds to be raided, but they are complex, intelligent beings. And it would be better for them and healthier for humans to leave them alone and seek cures in modern science. Improve your science to work on your bodies. Make your bodies healthier than resort to animals and their organs. But the author is of a different opinion. What does the author say here? The author says this statement coming from meat eating countries. ये ऐसा statement अगर meat eating countries दे रहे हैं, it's actually very very paradoxical. It shows your double standards. The author says you either completely become a vegan and then you give the statement, or you don't give the statement at all. Because if you're meat eating and then you say animals are intelligent beings and they are complex and they should be left alone, then you show your double standards. So author actually is in the favor of xenotransplant here. Agreed, everyone? Yes? Okay. So, any more questions, anyone? Okay, here we go. Though somewhat shaken by COVID-19, humanity's desire to prolong life at all costs is given. Agreed है कि हम इतना सफर कर रहे हैं तो हमारा desire to live longer justified है. An increasingly common cause of death and suffering is end stage failure of critical organs. We know that, we've heard about that, that in the end their organs start failing. If we have an alternative available, why don't we utilize that? And since new organs replace failing ones successfully, we will continue to widen the net for sourcing them. और हमारे लिए अवेलेबिलिटी जब बढ़ने लग जाती है तो हम उसको जरूर यूटिलाइज करते हैं, जैसे ये पिग हार्ट का ट्रांसप्लांट था. बट इन आवर क्वेस्ट टुवर्ड्स इमॉर्टैलिटी, recent events show that in good and bad ways our lives depend not only on other humans but also on other species cohabiting the planet. So हमारा लाइफ जब ट्रांसप्लांट की बात आती है, it's not only dependent on other humans, it's dependent on other animals as well, maybe big or maybe small. What is the tone of the author here, everyone? Tone of the author. Tone. Tone of the author. Everybody, what is it? Paradoxical, okay. Saki, that's what PETA works for. Purva, only slightly, bache. Only slightly. The whole passage cannot be termed as a philosophical one. Okay? So everyone says, Tanishka, I love this tone. It can be an assertive one. Yes, it can be an assertive one. Yes, because he expresses his standpoint clearly in the passage and he explains the whole passage to make you agree with his standpoint. It's assertive. Agreed, everyone? Yes, Mobis, it is. Okay, so that is our tone here. Now, let me have a sip of water before I start with the... I'll show you the next paragraph, okay, next article. And I'm sure 99% of you haven't read that article. Give that a quick read till the time I have a sip of water. Here you go. Go through it, everyone. Another human controversy here. Read that. Done? This article is from The Guardian. Done? Yes. All right. So now, human and animal conflict we saw in the previous passage. Human and trees and plants conflict or forest conflict is seen here in the passage. We are a greedy lot, aren't we? The term plant blindness, such a beautiful phrase here. When you possibly see something in the background every single day, you don't notice that. You notice it only when it poses threat to you, right? And thus, if there are plants around us, if there are trees around us, we don't even pay attention to them. It's plant blindness. It was coined in 1998 to describe our general tendency to not see plant life that surround us. We just miss them. We don't pay attention to them. Till the time we see, oh, there are no more plants left and there's lack of oxygen, plant more trees. The problem has understandable roots. The human brain evolved to detect difference and then to categorize the difference as either threat or non-threat. डिफरेंट है, नया प्लांट लग गया, क्या ये मेरे लिए थ्रेटनिंग है या नॉन थ्रेटनिंग है, हम ऐसे कैटेगराइज करते हैं उसको. बट जो चीज हम रोज देख रहे हैं, वी विल नॉट नोटिस दैट, राइट? Plants being unlikely to attack are lumped together and treated as the background because we don't never notice what they do to us. A green screen against which dramas take place. Okay, so it's more like a setup of a stage of the world where there's a green screen. Not, and you know, it's so apt as usage because green screen is in usage these days. One is exactly behind me, which you can't see right now, and that's why it's a green screen here. But you just don't notice that, like the one you don't notice behind me. Many plants and especially trees exist on a different time scale to humans, who moreover have spent millennia dividing existence into conscious beings and things, where the former are afforded automatic importance, who? The plants, and the latter, the humans. So automatically plants become more important than humans. That's true, but we don't notice them. Yes? Now let's move to the next paragraph. Oh. Combined with the general move to cities and then to screen-based life indoors, gradually people started moving to cities, more buildings, lesser of burdened cover, and now practically in front of screens like we are right now. This has resulted in, for example, up to half of British children being unable to identify stinging nettles. Stinging nettle उन ब्रिटिशर्स के लिए कॉमन चीज थी. उत्तराखंड में, हिमाचल में भी स्टिंगिंग नेटल बहुत कॉमन है. बिच्छू बूटी नाम सुना होगा आपने, राइट? बिच्छू घास, the one you touch and you keep scratching yourself after that for hours. That is the stinging nettle. और बहुत सारे बच्चे ओक लीफ को भी रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर पाए, जो उनके लिए सबसे कॉमन है, हमारे लिए कश्मीर में कॉमन है, वो उसको भी रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर पाए. तो उनके लिए कितना, देखो, क्योंकि आप स्क्रीन में इतना इन्वॉल्व हो, you just omit all these things. We become more emotionally involved in what we can comprehend. अभी हम आर्टिकल पढ़ रहे हैं, we are more emotionally involved in what we can comprehend. Plants, as David Attenborough reminds us in this new BBC series, The Green Planet, are the basis of all life, including ourselves. हम ये भूल जाते हैं that, you know, we are here because plants are here. And yet the beauty and power and the scope of anthropomorphism of the polar bear, the snow leopard, the orangutan mean many more will campaign to save them. Say crested cowweed. Crested cowweed is another plant. ठीक है? ऐसा लगता है कि instead of saving the plants, people focus more on saving the endangered animals. They don't focus on saving plants because they forget the fact that we are here because plants are here. During lockdown, when people were forced to be still, we couldn't move out, we couldn't go out. That time still gives me chills. Or to go on a daily walk, we could do that as well. More of us began to notice plants. Yes, a lot of people got into the habit. Did your family get into it? Planting more things at home? If you guys are regular with me, you guys would know my love for plants, my love for seeds, my love for homegrown vegetables. You would know that. So, and to care for them. A pre-existing rise in house plant nurture became exponential. So people started keeping house plants, caring for them because We had nothing to do and we could observe everything around us. Thus, we realized how important it is to keep plants at home. There has been a parallel increase in the interest in how they interconnect. Homes, people, and plants. People have increased their cognition over understanding the importance of that. Peter Wohlleb's bestseller, The Hidden Life of Trees, argues that they communicate. He says they communicate, the trees and the plants do, care for each other, and are part of wood wide. Such a brilliant term coined here. Instead of the World Wide Web, it's the Wood Wide Web. And he believes the plants communicate, they support each other. Yes, we know that. If I plant a creeper, it would take the support of another plant nearby and climb higher. That's how they support each other. Agreed? As does Susan Smith's finding Mother Tree. There are other books that are quoted here. Botanists such as these argue for a kind of plant intelligence. So they agree that the plants have intelligence, they understand, they communicate, and they help each other. Richard Powers' Booker shortlisted The Overstory, which contains a character based on Simard, also hits a nerve. So all of these are examples of books that are written about plants and their cognition and their cognitive behavior. Yes? Agreed? क्या कभी दोनों बन सकते हो? Understand that. बिल्कुल दोनों बन सकते हो. Any question in the app? Very good, Astha. Do that every year. The Green Planet takes these trends, applies extraordinary new technology to contract their time scale to human speed, and of course adds Attenborough's dramatic narrative. What is this dramatic narrative in his BBC series? How does he explain that? How does he use drama to explain his narrative? In the first episode about the rainforest, which covers only 6% of the earth, but 80% of the biodiversity present on earth, this was balsa leaves battling for sunlight. Look at these personifying words. Battling. Who? Leaves for sunlight. Leaf clutter and troops sent out on errands. Again personification. Sent out on errands. Who goes out? Jao sabzi leke aao. These are our errands. Jao milk leke aao. These are our errands. But here, the leaf cutter and troops are sent out on errands by an underground fungus, because the fungus disturbed their house. They went out for some job. Vine tendrils waving through the air like grappling hooks. You know, so if you have a grapevine, not the communication grapevine, but a literal grapevine, you would see the tendrils would wave in the air. That is the drama he adds to his narrative. The aim, says Attenborough, is to see the world from plants' point of view, which is, of course, a definition of empathy. Unless and until. And how is this an empathy? Who's going to explain that? How is this an empathy at all when you look at the world from a plant's point of view? How can that be empathetic? Errands, छोटे छोटे काम, milk लेके आना, सब्जी लेके आना, these are errands. Movies background में full green बना रहे हो आप. Exactly, Purva. Yes, a lot of them on Netflix. What is being empathetic here? Yes, anyone? Empathy is putting ourselves in someone else's place. Yes. So here I'm putting myself in the plant's place, because I feel of them as humans too, how they would react. उनकी जगह पे अपने आप को रख के we can see how, and that's when we would know that they exist. We would not be blind towards plants, and we would be empathetic towards them. That is what putting yourself in the plant's place and feeling what they feel when you cut them, when you chop them up. That is being empathetic here. It is incredibly effective when the camera pans out to show that the dense patch of forest Attenborough is standing in is not only next to a road, but is a small island of sea of farmland. The shock is visceral. It's not mental. The shock is emotional, because it's a dense forest. But then there's a road next to it. That means there's commercialization. And there are farmlands next to it. That means there is cutting of trees also. The shock is visceral here. It also is a vivid illustration of the problems of habitat fragmentation, a process studied by late Thomas Lovejoy, who saw the ecosystems can shrink to the point when they can no longer survive. Forest cut करते रहोगे इतना cut कर दोगे कि there's going to be a point of time when the ecosystem will not be able to survive. And then what are we going to do? Regret is possibly the only thing we will be left with. So I think through this passage, before I explain the last paragraph, we all can possibly take a pledge to make our surrounding greener. Yes, try to grow food for ourselves at least, vegetables for ourselves at least. Any empty piece of land that you see around yourself, any empty pot that you see lying around yourself, plant something there. Plant corridors, like corridors for wild animals. You know, wild animal corridors, we see a lot in India. So it's basically a passage made where there's a road, so that this road does not block the movement of animals. A corridor for animals is made. Similarly, we can make plant corridors as well and keep species connected. The rainforest could, if given the space, begin to heal itself. We just need to give them time and space and leave it undisturbed. That's when it would come back and fulfill itself. Understory must urgently become overstory. Understory was the name of a book that was mentioned in the paragraph where there were multiple books mentioned. So it says, instead of understory, it should now become an overstory. The Green Planet, by enacting its own argument, makes this abundantly, verdantly clear. Verdantly, apt word, because here we refer to the word green. So it makes it absolutely clear that this understory has to become an overstory. What is the tone of the author? Thank you, Priya. Thank you. What's the tone here, everyone? What's the tone? Do you have your parents also watching this series, anyone? Any day? I'd like to know that, so that I don't tell you anything that they might be offended with. I wouldn't talk about LGBTQ maybe. What's the tone? Absolutely concerning. Absolutely concerning. Yes. Concerning. He's concerned about, and then he comes up with suggestions as well. Okay? It's concerning and suggestive. Concerning and suggestive. Yeah. Okay? Got this, everybody? Mostly concerning, and then we have suggestive. Okay. Oh yes, Ritik, all my vegetables, all of them. Okay. Persuasive, yes. Dhanraj, yes, it could be persuasive as well. Correct. Okay. All right. So guys, I'm going to share today's newspaper, everybody. And I'm going to tell you what are the important articles we should be reading today from the Hindu and Indian Express. But before I do that, bookmark this session at 12:30 on the BBA YouTube channel, where I'll be teaching you strong and weak arguments. Okay, make sure you come live. Don't miss out on it. It gives you a lot of such questions. Another thing, I see a lot of you struggling with the last 3 months that we have. I'm going to come live tomorrow on our app at 6:30, where I'll be helping you figuring out a strategy for the next 3 months. How do we plan it out? What should we do for the next 3 months? Whatever you've done till date, possibly let's dump it aside and let's figure out what should we be doing in the next 3 months. Bookmark that session on our app as well. Okay, now let's look at let's look at the Indian Express and the Hindu today, everyone. Give me a second. I'll share today's newspaper in the background. Did you like this article from the Guardian? Do you think I should be taking more articles from the Guardian sometimes? Yes? on BBA platform. Yes, Shrishti. Acha. Oh, okay, Gulshan. All right. Let's look at the Indian Express as well. Sharing the paper in the background. I hope it's. Uh-oh. 1 second, guys. Yeah, here it is. I hope it's visible, everybody. Is it? कल हम टेक्स्ट और कॉन्टेक्स्ट देखना भूल गए थे, आज देखेंगे. बहुत सारे आर्टिकल्स आ रहे हैं टेक्स्ट और कॉन्टेक्स्ट पे. Okay, video team, can you please share the Telegram groups link here? Video team, can you please share the Telegram groups link here? Okay, first article from the Hindu today. Skim, only skim, okay? We don't need to pay a lot of attention to it. I haven't taken any article on Europe and China and what's happening there in quite some time. I think I should be taking it tomorrow. कल लेंगे ये आर्टिकल, पूरा हिस्ट्री समझा दूंगी, आगे आ जाएगा समझ में. ओके, तो कल क्लास में टाइम पे आ जाना. रेड लाइंस डिटेल में पढ़ना आपको. skim through it, okay? Yes, please do read it. Please do read it. Yes, very important, okay? Now, apart from that, just a minute. Here we go with the next page. Okay, so Ramchandra Guha. पढ़ना चाहिए ये आर्टिकल. What do you think? Do you think we should be reading this article? Absolutely yes. I think I'm going to take this article tomorrow as well. बिल्कुल पढ़ना है. Absolutely. मिस नहीं करना इसको. Okay? Oh, yes. Only skim. Okay? Only skim. Let's move to the text and context. बिल्कुल पढ़ना, डिटेल में पढ़ना रामचंद्र गुहा's article, okay? Okay, here we go with text and context. Yes, read this. Only skim. The last page of text and context. For a reset in India-Nepal relation, only skim. Yes. Yes, it's about legal bans on child labor. Isko please पढ़ लेना. So many important things today. Okay, let's look at the Indian Express. The virus is here to stay. We must learn to live with it. पढ़ लेना. Not a very happy thing to read though. The incredible journey of Maria Aurora Conto. Yes, बिल्कुल पढ़ लेना. Can Pakistan put off change again? Skim. While acquitting Franco. पढ़ना इसको. बिल्कुल पढ़ना. Forest reports conclusion of increase in cover should not lead to complacency. Yes, we just read something of similar sort today. Loss of natural forest is worrying. Read this. How the India-Japan friendship can help global peace, prosperity. Yes, read this. Bhiju Maharaji, through his art, told stories, blurred gender lines, created a parallel universe. Please read this. And the last one is vaccination drive has achieved impressive success. It needs to be scaled up in poll-bound states. Yes, read this. Let's look at the explained page, everyone. Yes, yes, Nandini, BBYT channel. Okay, the explained page. इसको skim करना. Great resignation and what can be done to arrest it. Skim. How and why space station entered UP poll हो रहा है. छोड़ देना. ये पॉलिटिक्स पेज कभी भी मत पढ़ना, आपके लिए कोई नीड नहीं है. ठीक है, ये भी छोड़ देना. Which countries have made COVID-19 vaccines mandatory? Skim. Skulls, bones of fetuses found at Wardha Hospital. How will forensic tests help the case? Skim. How are Republic Day tableaus designed and selected? पढ़ सकते हो. Okay. Again, politics, leave this. And the last one, brief history of inflation. We did that yesterday. That is all from today's newspapers, everyone. I hope there are no more questions. All right. Okay, guys, winding up the class. I shall see you at 12:30, everybody, on the BBA YouTube channel. Just search for BBA BYJU'S Exam Prep on YouTube. You would find our channel, subscribe to it, bookmark, or set a reminder for the session that happens at 12:30. Okay. Bye, everyone. Have a very, very good day. And Ragini, I'll ask the video team to do it tomorrow, okay? I have to wind up the class right now. I shall see you at 12:30. Bye, everyone. God bless all of you.